Zira stepped out of the sleek, silver spacecraft, the hum of its engines fading into the background. Her senses were immediately assaulted by the cacophony of Earth, a symphony of honking cars, chattering pedestrians, and the distant wail of sirens. She blinked, her multifaceted eyes adjusting to the bright sunlight filtering through the dense urban jungle. Her disguise was perfect. Long, wavy dark brown hair cascaded down her back, swaying with each step she took. Her deep green eyes scanned the surroundings, taking in the vibrant life that thrived in this human metropolis. Light olive skin glowed under the sunlight, completing her transformation into a seemingly ordinary Earthwoman. Zira's mission was clear: observe and report. Her people, the Centaurians, prized logic and efficiency above all else. Emotional intimacy was an alien concept to them, with procreation reduced to a clinical procedure devoid of any personal connection. She moved through the bustling streets, her movements calculated and precise, noting the chaotic yet strangely harmonious interactions of the humans around her. She found herself in a crowded marketplace, the air thick with the scent of exotic spices and fresh produce. Vendors shouted, hawking their goods to passers-by, while families meandered, children laughing and tugging at their parents' hands. Zira watched, her curiosity piqued. These scenes of everyday life were filled with a warmth and vibrancy that was absent from her sterile, orderly world. It was at a local university where Zira's path crossed with Leo's. The campus buzzed with the energy of youthful minds, the air filled with animated discussions and bursts of laughter. Zira had arranged to meet with Leo under the pretense of sharing insights about extraterrestrial cultures. She found him in a sunlit courtyard, engrossed in a conversation with a group of students. Leo was different from anyone she had encountered. His light brown hair was tousled, giving him a perpetually windswept look, and his deep brown eyes sparkled with curiosity and warmth. He wore a casual outfit, plaid shirt and jeans, that exuded an approachable charm. As he noticed her, his face lit up with a genuine smile, and he excused himself from the group. "Zira, right?" he greeted, extending a hand. "I'm Leo. It's great to finally meet you." Zira took his hand, noting the firm yet gentle grip. "Yes, I'm Zira. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me." Their initial interactions were formal, focused on the academic and professional. Leo shared his research on the cultural impacts of extraterrestrial life, while Zira offered carefully curated insights about Centaurian society. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, their conversations began to shift. Over coffee in the bustling campus cafe, they delved into topics that went beyond the scope of their original purpose. Leo's enthusiasm was contagious. He spoke passionately about human relationships, his words painting vivid pictures of intimacy and connection that fascinated Zira. She found herself drawn to his stories, eager to understand the emotions that underpinned them. One evening, after a particularly engaging discussion, Leo leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, Zira, humans find joy in the simplest things. Holding hands, sharing a laugh, even just being close to someone. It's not about efficiency. It's about feeling connected." Zira listened, her curiosity deepening. The concept of finding joy in connection was foreign to her, yet something about it resonated. She watched Leo as he spoke, noting the way his eyes lit up and his smile reached them. There was a warmth and sincerity in his demeanor that was both intriguing and comforting. Their conversations continued, each one peeling back another layer of Zira's understanding of human intimacy. She began to see Leo not just as a source of information, but as a window into a world of emotions and experiences that were entirely new to her. And as she navigated this uncharted territory, she couldn't help but feel that her mission on Earth was becoming much more personal than she had ever anticipated. The flickering candlelight cast a warm glow over the small, cozy restaurant. Soft music played in the background, mingling with the quiet hum of conversation. Zira sat across from Leo, her eyes reflecting the dancing flames as she listened intently. Leo leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Intimacy, Zira, is about more than just reproduction. It's about connection, an emotional bond that brings pleasure and a deep sense of closeness." His voice was gentle, almost reverent, as if he were sharing a sacred secret. Zira tilted her head, a frown creasing her forehead. "But how does this connection manifest?" she asked. Her curiosity piqued, but her understanding still shrouded in the logic of her upbringing. Leo smiled, reaching across the table to gently take her hand. "It's in the little things," he explained. "A touch, a shared moment, the way you feel when you're with someone you care about." He traced circles on her palm with his thumb, his touch light and soothing. Zira stared at their joined hands, feeling an unfamiliar warmth spreading through her. It was different from the clinical interactions she was accustomed to. It was personal. She looked up, meeting Leo's gaze, and for the first time, she began to glimpse the depth of what he was describing. The festival was a riot of color and sound. Banners fluttered in the breeze, stalls lined the streets, and the air was filled with the aroma of street food. Music blared from every corner, and laughter echoed through the crowd. Zira stood at the edge of the throng, her senses overwhelmed by the sheer vibrancy of it all. Leo appeared at her side, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Come on, let's explore," he said, taking her hand and leading her into the crowd. Zira followed, her initial apprehension giving way to curiosity. They wandered through the festival, sampling food, playing games, and watching street performers. Everywhere she looked, Zira saw couples sharing intimate moments, a kiss, a whispered conversation, a shared laugh. She observed the way they looked at each other, the way their bodies seemed to naturally gravitate together. As they passed a makeshift dance floor, Leo paused, turning to her with a playful grin. "Would you like to dance?" he asked. Zira hesitated, but the enthusiasm in his eyes was infectious. "Yes, I'd like that," she replied, allowing him to lead her onto the floor. The music swelled around them as Leo placed a hand on her waist, guiding her gently. Zira followed his lead, her movements stiff at first but gradually relaxing into the rhythm. She felt his warmth through the fabric of her dress, the subtle pressure of his hand on her back, the closeness of his body. It was an entirely new sensation, a blend of physical and emotional connection that left her breathless. As they swayed to the music, Zira realized that intimacy was not just a concept. It was an experience, a feeling that resonated deep within her. And in that moment, she began to understand the joy and fulfillment that humans found in these connections. The gentle glow of the moon bathed the room in a soft, silvery light. Zira and Leo sat on the couch, their legs intertwined as they talked late into the night. The conversation flowed easily, touching on everything from their favorite books to their dreams for the future. Leo reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair from Zira's face. "You know, intimacy is about trust," he said softly. "It's about being vulnerable and allowing someone else to see you for who you truly are." Zira nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. "And how do you build that trust?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Leo smiled, his eyes warm and reassuring. "By being honest, by listening, and by showing that you care." He leaned in, his lips brushing against hers in a tender kiss. Zira's breath hitched as she felt the softness of his lips, the gentle pressure, the warmth that spread through her entire being. It was as if a dam had broken inside her, releasing a flood of emotions she had never known existed. Each touch, each kiss was a revelation, a new piece of a puzzle that was slowly coming together. Leo's hands roamed gently, caressing her skin, exploring the contours of her body with a reverence that made her feel cherished and desired. Zira responded tentatively at first, but with growing confidence as she embraced the sensations and emotions that intimacy brought. In Leo's arms, Zira discovered a new dimension of pleasure and connection. It was a profound and transformative experience that transcended the purely physical. She felt a deep bond forming between them, built on mutual respect, trust, and a shared sense of discovery. As they lay together, entwined in each other's arms, Zira realized that she had found something truly extraordinary. Intimacy, she now understood, was not just an act but a journey that brought her closer to understanding the richness and depth of human experience. Zira's fingers flew across the holographic keyboard, each keystroke capturing a fragment of her newfound understanding. Her reports to the Centaurian High Council had taken on a new tone, filled with insights that went beyond the sterile data they were accustomed to. Humans derive profound joy and fulfillment from their relationships, she wrote, her words weaving a tapestry of her experiences. Intimacy is not merely a function of reproduction, but a source of deep emotional bonds and personal pleasure. These connections enrich their lives in ways that our clinical approach cannot replicate. She paused, recalling the warmth of Leo's touch, the way his eyes lit up with unspoken affection. Her multifaceted eyes, now more expressive, reflected a myriad of emotions. She knew her superiors would be skeptical, their minds bound by centuries of logical conditioning. Yet, there was an undeniable truth in her words, one she hoped they would eventually see. The holographic screen flickered as she received a response from the High Council. The message was terse, filled with questions and doubts, but beneath the skepticism lay a spark of intrigue. They were beginning to listen. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the quiet park. Zira and Leo sat on a bench, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. The time for her departure was drawing near, and the reality of their impending separation loomed large. Leo broke the silence, his voice tinged with sadness. I knew this day would come, but it doesn't make it any easier. Zira turned to him, her eyes shimmering with a mix of emotions. I must return to my people. They need to understand what I've learned here. But that doesn't mean this is the end. She reached out, taking his hand in hers, feeling the familiar warmth and comfort. You've shown me a different way of experiencing life, Leo. I promise to carry these lessons back to Proxima Centauri B. Perhaps one day, our worlds will understand each other better. Leo's grip tightened, his eyes reflecting the depth of their bond. I believe in you, Zira. You have the power to change things. And no matter how far apart we are, what we've shared will always be a part of me. They embraced, the moment filled with a bittersweet mixture of love and farewell. As Zira walked away, she glanced back one last time, etching the image of Leo's silhouette against the fading light into her memory. Back on Proxima Centauri B, Zira stood before the High Council, her posture confident and resolute. The chamber was filled with the soft hum of technology, but today, it seemed to pulse with a new kind of energy, anticipation. She presented her findings, her voice steady and impassioned. Our society has long valued logic and efficiency, but we are missing a crucial element of life, emotional and physical intimacy. Humans have shown me that these connections are not weaknesses but strengths that enrich and fulfill. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions a blend of curiosity and doubt. One elder spoke up, his tone cautious. You propose a radical shift in our societal norms, Zira. How can we be certain this is the right path? Zira's eyes met his, unwavering. By embracing both logic and emotion, we can create a more balanced and fulfilling society. I have experienced this firsthand, and I believe it is a path worth exploring. Her words planted seeds of thought, and over time, the rigid structures of Centaurian society began to show signs of change. Slowly, they started integrating concepts of emotional intimacy, allowing for more personal connections and genuine pleasure. Zira often found herself reflecting on her time with Leo, the memories a source of strength and inspiration. Their relationship had bridged two worlds, transforming not only her own perspective but the very fabric of her society. Years later, the once sterile methods of reproduction on Proxima Centauri B had evolved. Now, opportunities for genuine connection and pleasure were woven into the fabric of their lives. Zira, now a respected elder, looked out over a society that had embraced a more holistic view of existence. She smiled, thinking of Leo and the profound impact he had on her life. Their bond had transcended the vast distance between their worlds, leaving a lasting legacy that had forever changed the intimate vision of an extraterrestrial woman. As she watched a group of young Centaurians laughing and sharing a tender moment, Zira knew that the future held endless possibilities for her people, and in her heart, she carried the enduring warmth of a love that had bridged the stars.